Hello, I wanted to speak with you a little bit about the ending fund balance situation at Portland Community College. Here is a page from the current adopted budget, and we can see in fiscal year 2027 how the expectation for this budget is to end with a 12% ending fund balance, meaning that we would have spent from the general fund that year $317 million, and 12% of that is this $38 million that is put aside and is kept sort of to keep cash flow flexible and as available in the case of extremely dire emergencies. So think of this graph as an abstract drawing of PCC's general fund balance over the course of 2 years, and it goes up and down like that. Let's instead imagine that all of the increase comes at the beginning and then all of the expenditures come. When you view it that way, we can place these $318 and $38 million amounts. The balance reaches a high of $318 million, and then at the end of the year, at the end of the biennium, we're down at that low of $38 million, which is 12%. Now, historically, PCC has maintained a minimum ending fund balance of 9%, which is only $28.6 million. And that jump from 9 to 12 costs about $9.5 million implemented this current biennium to make that happen. If we kept the ending fund balance at 9%, then this little gap that you see here at the bottom corner, well, that's $9.5 million that could freely be spent on things this biennium. FFAP has proposed raising the ending fund balance this biennium to 10% from 9%. And so we'd have a slightly higher line here on this picture, which still leaves a gap of $6.3 million that could be allocated towards cost of living adjustments and other things that we and FCE are asking for. Making this change requires that the president and the board decide that it is acceptable to abandon their Cadillac version of a fiscal sustainability plan. And here we are in the PCC adopted budget, where we can see that 12% minimum ending fund balance. Is that reasonable compared to what other Oregon community colleges are doing? And here at Clackamas, we have a 10% policy. It applies to revenue instead of expenditures. At Mount Hood Community College, the policy is to not go below 5%. At Lane Community College, the board policy is to maintain a reserve of at least 10%. And at Lynn Benton Community College, the governing board has set a target of 10%. And as you survey Oregon community colleges, you start seeing larger percents as you look into these smaller schools, which makes a lot of sense because a smaller school is more subject to variability. So why should Portland Community College, the largest school by far, buck that trend and require an ending fund balance higher than the 10% that we see in the medium-large schools? This increase to 12% is a change that no one asked for. It's part of a plan to create a shiny, nice-looking fiscal sustainability plan, but nobody needed this raise from 9% to 12%. And the funding freed up by changing this 12% plan down to a 10% plan is enough to raise management's COLA offer to both FFAP and FCE by 1 whole percentage point above the 0.35% that has been offered up to now.